Hello YouTube. Today is a day that is pretty interesting. It is putting on an angle kit onto my E46. I did it a couple days ago. I'm redoing the intro for you guys because I also want to touch base on the actual project itself. So what the project is going to be is it's going to be kind of like a series of me building up my E46 to be a full-on drift car. So we're going to be putting an LS in it, and I'm going to be putting this angle kit in, a hydraulic e-brake, doing some inside mods, some outside mods, just trying to keep the car as stock as it possibly can, while still being like a full drift car. I'm going to keep the stock BMW transmission, so it's going to be a little bit easier on the car. Not easier on the car, but it's going to be a little bit easier on the pockets so that I can just save my money on that portion of it and just buy the adapter plate and the actual clutch adapter. So that's part of that stuff, and it's going to be a decent time on how much I'm doing. So it's going to be basically a 5-month thing. I'm going to be trying to get it all done by the end of this year. So if you guys want to stick with it, the car is going to be making some pretty big changes. So I hope you guys want to see it and what it's going to end up like. So let's go ahead and jump into the rest of the video. So here we go. We got the box. We're all ready to open it. I already looked at these things, but they are pretty sick. So you have conical nuts and you have studs for the reinstallation of all this stuff. So that's really cool. And then here we go. These are actually just CNC'd aluminum pieces. So we'll see how well all this stuff works. And we got to get the car in the shop and see what we can do about it all. So basically what it's going to do is it's going to move the tie rod from right here on this end to this one, so that when it actually moves the steering, it's going to push it all farther out. So we're also going to do a measurement of when the car gets into here. We're going to see how far it turns and when it's stock, and then how far it turns when it has these in it. So let's go ahead and get this stuff started. So this is our base mark right here. So this is where we're going to start seeing how far the tire actually turns. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start up the car, and we're going to turn the wheel as far as it can go, turn off the car, and then we are going to mark our second tape spot where it is. And then what we're going to do is we're going to jack it up, take the front wheels off, do all of the stuff we need to do, and then put it all back together, check it again. So let's go ahead and do this. So guys, this is the stock angle right here. A BMW and Mercedes cars actually have a decent amount of steering angle to begin with. So this is actually not that bad for drifting. Obviously you want more angle. The more angle, the better. It's easier to get out of drifts and easier to maneuver yourself around. So now what we're going to do is we're going to straighten out the wheels, and we're going to take the tie rod off and take the lower control arm off, and then we're going to go ahead and put in our adapter pieces and put it all back together. So let's go ahead and do that stuff now. Okay guys, so we have the wheel off now, and we are looking at the steering angle itself. So what the actual kit does is it moves the tie rod from here to like right about here. So all it's going to do is it's just going to be able to push the actual steering a little bit more. So this is the piece right here, and this goes pretty much just like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this nut off right there, and we're going to take this one off. This one actually has to come out completely so we can put it into this, and then we are going to put our stud onto this one, put this back on, and then put that nut onto there, and we're going to Loctite everything this time since it's not in its normal position. And then we're going to go ahead and put our tie rod into its new home, and then we should be a-okay. So let's go ahead and get started with all this stuff. All right guys, so I took the vehicle speed sensor out so that I don't break that. That goes right here. It was just a 5mm Allen key. Took that out. I took the lower control arm nut off. I've redid the lower control arms on this car, so this car, that nut just came right off. The tie rod nut actually gave me a little bit of trouble. Didn't strip or anything, just came off pretty hard, so I'm actually going to put some penetrant on the other one when I take it off. And these ball joints seem pretty stiff, so that's really good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to actually put on our new piece. So it's going to sit like that. So now what we have to do is I have to get the Loctite and the conical nuts to put onto there and the stud for this side. And then we can go ahead and we can put our tie rod into this one and then we can bolt that back down with some Loctite too. So let's go ahead and do those few steps. And so this side is all done. So what it did is it moved the tie rod from here to there, gave it more steering angle, and now my brake caliper touches. So I don't know how well this is gonna go. I'm trying to adjust the tie rods when I'm doing this, and they are very stuck, so I sprayed penetrant on them. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on to the other side. I'm going to take the other side completely apart and then do the same thing on the other side, and then we'll go ahead and try to adjust the tie rods afterwards. So this is what the final product looks like. It's actually doing its job, and it's giving me a decent amount of angle. Each one of these bolts has Loctite on it just so that it doesn't have a chance to back off. And yeah, guys, we'll see what the other side does and see how much angle we can finally get out of this thing. Hopefully it's a decent amount, and it'll max it out for us. So let's go ahead and start the other side. Guys, both sides are in, but we have a dilemma. So when this side is basically fully turned all the way until it'll stop, there's a little bit more right there. This side is pretty much straight. So yeah, that's what's happening right now. So what I have to do is I really have to break these tie rods loose, and I have to get this thing, the tie rods basically completely shut so that I can run these adjustments here. But while we're in here underneath this thing and we're doing some of the suspension stuff, we are going to go ahead and fix something else on this thing. The actual cars themselves look really, really good, but when you start doing performance stuff and when you start modifying things start to tend to break a lot. So one of the main things that is actually bad for these cars is the front strut towers. The strut towers love to just break and put holes into it. So this one already has a dent in it, and that is not acceptable. So we have to go ahead and fix this. That side has a little dent on it, and so doesn't this one. This one has it right there though. So the parts that I have to actually fix that are these right here. I've had these for probably over a year now, and what these things do is they actually go on top of the struts, and they're basically just reinforcers. So what this does is it goes like that, and you put that in there. So that what it does is it allows more of the strut to displace its weight under that instead of just having it under the 3 points on top of that. So we're going to go ahead and drop our struts a little bit and put these things on and then reinstall our struts. So guys, actually what this little dot is it's a guide pin right there. So whoever put these struts in before did not line the guide pin back up, and they just kind of threw the struts back in and they put the dent right there. So basically what it does is it puts it into that hole so that the struts are actually on the right side and they are going in the right direction. So the plate that I have actually has the hole right there too. So we're going to go ahead and slide this thing onto this. I already did it on that side, and I pretty much maxed out the camber on it. So if you look, these holes are actually slotted so you can move the camber back and forth. So I pushed that side as far as I could to the cambered point, and I'm going to do the same on this side, and then we're going to go ahead and tighten everything back up. By that time, hopefully our struts, our tie rods are actually loosened, lubed up enough so that we can move them around, and then we can go ahead and start adjusting for the new angle kit. So let's go ahead and finish up this. So guys, everything was going great on the BMW. I had both sides on, everything was perfect, and then I go to check the steering and it is completely off. You turn one all the way, you turn it all the way so that it's at full lock, the other wheel is completely straight. So I had to do something that's kind of ghetto, kind of not, but it's going to work. And I think at the end of this, it's going to be pretty much just as much angle as Chris's car. So I had me and my friend here, Paul, works at Peter's shop. Give Peter a good shout out. What's the shop?
Out Repairing Tires, also known as Pete's Tires. You can follow him on Instagram at Pete's Tires. More than welcome to.
Okay. So Paul's over here. He cut off the piece of the inner tie rod because I hate the die grinder and I will never use that thing again. So he cut that off for me, and it's about an inch. We took this off of this side. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and grease up this side, put this kit back on, and see where we're at. Make sure we're not taking off too much, and then we're going to go ahead and just readjust and see where we're at. So that's what we had to do. After a little bit of investigation on eBay, this is pretty much what you have to do with all these things, so it's nothing out of the ordinary. But we're going to hope that this thing works, it comes out perfect, and we'll be right back. We do have it pretty much figured out. So on this one, you have to cut the inner tie rods, you have to cut the outer tie rods, you have to take this thing off. I have to go find a smaller nut, try to get this stuff on, but I'm gonna go home tonight and the car is gonna be a little towed out. We might try to cut both outer tie rods again, just so that we can figure out exactly so we can basically dial it in just a little bit more. And then I'm gonna do some extra research. I'm probably gonna get smaller tie rods for the inside, for the outer. So basically, but the angle kit does work. Trust me, it works. The only thing that sucks is that it cambers it a lot when you're at full lock. So I'm pretty excited to go ahead and see what this does tonight, but I also am kind of a little scared because I don't want it to like do what some modded knuckle setups do and it just snap the wheel out of your hand when you go to full lock. So what we're going to be doing right here is, so Paul has the outer tie rod right here, and basically what I did on this side was can you hold this?
Yep.
So I cut all the way to right there. Basically, I cut till the notch was completely open, and I just sheared all that off, and then I put it on, and it basically makes it so that there's no toe. So on this side, I'm going to cut it just a little bit farther if I can, and that side should basically be straight, and then this side we might do it if that side works. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Guys, so the BMW is all set, back on the ground. The angle that it gives you, I'm not too sure if it's better or worse. We're going to find out in a minute. But for the amount of stuff that it takes to get this to be done, if this doesn't increase the angle by at least, it says it's 25 to 30% of an increase. But like, if it doesn't do that, then it wasn't worth it. And you should just save your money and buy like an actual angle kit for your car. But I mean, it was $40, so it's not like the end of the world if it doesn't really work for you. But I had to cut the inner, the outer, take my sway bar off, and now it finally works. And I'm still not even sure if it fully works to the fullest extent. So we're gonna go ahead and start up the car, and we're gonna see what the angle is. I'm actually gonna back my car out, pull it back in, because the car has actually moved from the original spot that it was in. But yeah, we're gonna check it and see what it is now. So guys, just to conclude the video, I seemed pretty discouraged in that last clip, and I was thinking that the angle kit wasn't really working, but after a couple days of driving the car, some more modifications to the car, and just an overall generalization of driving the car on the street and stuff like that, this angle kit really does work. So as you can see, this side has hecka angle. So this is the side that gives you most of your steering. So this side either has as much or more than Chris's car. So I am very well satisfied with this side, but this side isn't as much, but it kind of looks like it. You guys definitely tell me what you guys think. And for $40, you really can't beat it, guys. I've done some other things over the past couple days on the car, so it's really improved the driving overall. So this is just number one on the actual list of getting the car ready to be a full-on drift car. Obviously, this isn't permanent. I will end up changing it later down the road, but just so that I can start driving the car a lot and getting onto the track and stuff like that, this is definitely going to work. So stay tuned for part two. Part two is going to be installing the hydraulic e-brake. That'll be here tomorrow. And we're just going to be doing some other stuff. There is going to be a video in between the hydraulic e-brake, though, so stay tuned for that one, and then we'll jump into the hydraulic e-brake. And yeah, guys, car's coming along very quickly, and I can't wait to get onto the track. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hope you guys subscribe, and just leave a comment down below. I'll see you guys later.